First, he was in a dream, more like a trance, where he felt like he was awakening his talent but was confused. Was that part of the awakening process? Unfortunately, while checking to see if something had changed, he realized his talents were still weak, and he was worried if he'd ever become a martial warrior or be able to protect his sister. He lied to his sister about his talents having awakened, only to discover a pop-up revealing that he can actually copy other people's talents, but he didn't want to test it on his sister because he felt she'd need it more. Long ago, precisely 100 years, spatial rifts were opened above the Earth, and lots of fierce dimensional beasts emerged, invaded planet Earth, and was a threat to the survival of humans. However, this dimensional energy brought about the awakening of talents. In humans, this only happened to a small number of them, which brought about the era of talents. Linhai Base, 5th Stadium. Going through the process of being a martial warrior, one must become an apprentice and then learn the body technique the tutor told them to work towards being as great as Chen Dong the senior, who took just half a month to become a martial apprentice. Had an opportunity to meet Chen Dong, shook him and copied his talent after a while, trying to fuse the copied talent with his. The process was really painful, but he overlooked the pain, saying it was worth it as long as his talent would change. Another special thing happened. He could copy talents after every 30 days. Cool, right? 1 month later, while taking a stroll at night, thinking of how he would soon become an elite warrior if he handled the talent well, a monster suddenly appeared and attacked a man behind him who was with his daughter. It was his first time seeing a monster so fierce. As soon as he carried the girl to safety, the monster came after him at a very fast pace. Then a hero showed up and defended them. He calls himself Captain Galewolf. The captain asked him to protect the little girl while he fought the monster head-on. After some time, his teammates came to join him because the monster was turning wild. They all fought the monster together, and the captain used his sniping skills to finish the monster off. Then he saw that the monster's talent was low. Just as they were celebrating, thinking the fight was over, someone shouted from behind them that they should watch out because the monster was still alive. Surprisingly, they looked, and it was. The teammates asked the captain what should be done, but he responded that he would take care of it because the monster was still weak. The other teammates told Yi-Tian to leave the area as it was dangerous, but he instead ran towards the monster and copied its talents. The captain came forward and dragged him back, saying the monster is dead and acting surprised that he made sure the talent was copied successfully. As they were walking away, the captain turned back and told him that he looked forward to having him on his team as soon as he became a warrior. They all departed, and Yi-Tian went home to clean up the blood that was all over him so his little sister wouldn't see it. He then wondered if the monster's talents could be fused into his own body and wanted to try it but paused, thinking it could be life-threatening. He didn't let that stop him, though, and kept telling himself it was important he did it for the safety of his loved ones. Undergoing the fusing process was really painful for him, but thereafter he noticed he became really light and was moving swiftly in a manner he hadn't experienced before. The next day, as Yi-Tian went out to train, he met his friend Zhang Bao, who told him the reason he has been doing better than him is that he has been drinking monster's blood. He said it helps one get faster and stronger quickly. Yi-Tian was disappointed because his encounter with the Moon Wolf would have been the perfect opportunity for him to have done it. Then Zhang Bao told him of the way he could lay his hands on the monster's blood, which involved going to a wild zone made by the higher-ups of the school as an exam area, and the prize for winning that was the monster's blood. But Yi-Tian declined to join his squad to win the monster's blood, and Zhang Bao was disappointed, saying did he know he did that because he didn't want to get exposed. Yi-Tian proceeded to sign up for the examination in order to win the prize, which is the monster's blood, but was stopped by the registrar, who stated that Yi-Tian had not even received an invitation and was already signing up. Yi-Tian defended himself by saying he was already a martial apprentice, so he was already qualified to sign up. After signing up, he prepared a note for his little sister at home saying he'd be away for 3 days, using the school as an excuse. When he got to the venue for the exam battle, he found out that there were more than he thought there would be and encountered a genius from the first academy named Mo Shaob, who seemed pretty arrogant and was confronted by another, but who could it be? Mo Shaob was confronted by Lai Yongxing, another genius swordsman from the second academy who had been defeated by Mo in the past but couldn't fight him because it was forbidden to fight outside the wild zone. So he postponed the fight until they got inside. Later on, the exam begins, but it's according to the order of the academies, 1st, 2nd, and 5th, which is the last. Zhang Bao leaves Yi-Tian to go find the rest of his teammates. However, Yi-Tian had already copied Lai Yongxing's sword talents while having a handshake with him. Then he went to a hidden place to fuse his newfound talent before going into the wild zone. After Yi-Tian entered, a savage beast appeared from behind him to attack him, but Yi easily defeated him and won a point. He was made to understand that the rules say that the more savage beasts each contestant gets to kill, the higher the rank. He started to wonder how many more points he needed to come in first. As he was walking along to find more beasts to kill, he suddenly heard a cry for help, only to see his friend Zhang Bao surrounded by a toothed wolf, and he went ahead to fight it, asking his friend if he'd give him those points. Yi Tian's ability to fight the toothed wolf with his skills astounded Zhang Bao. Yi Tian succeeds in killing the toothed wolf and asks Zhang Bao if he could keep the wolf's tooth, which Zhang accepts. Yi Tian asks Zhang Bao if he would be able to keep up and survive, but Zhang said no, that he has already given up, saying he was happy he survived because all his teammates are already injured badly and he has to send them for immediate treatment, saying their lives can still be saved. As they departed, Zhang warned Yi Tian to be careful because there was a fake beast as he went deeper into the wild area, and it was worth 500 points. Eagerly, he asked Zhang for the direction where he could find one, and he answered northeast. As he approached the door, he looked to the floor and saw dead bodies from the first academy. He then moved forward to see more of the students trying to fight the fake beast, even Mo Sheob, to win the 500 points. Yi Tian hunts the fierce, snaky beast into a cave and sees it drinking a particular liquid. Not caring what it is, he goes ahead and fights the beast. But it seems like the beast is faster than he thought with his skills and might. He makes sure he fights the beast, takes its eyes and the blood from its heart, and goes away saying he can't let anyone get their hands on it, not even Mo Sheob because Yi Tian had to come first in the exam. A few moments later, Mo Sheob and the rest find only the corpse of the beast and nothing else. Angrily, he swears to find the culprit and kill the person, whoever it is. Mo Sheob and his gang begin their search for the thief who stole the points, stating that they will search for everyone they meet and execute the person. Knowing this, Yi Tian decides to go into hiding, but he knows he can't stay hidden forever because the exam will be over in 3 days and everyone will be summoned to calculate their points. And they'll all know he was the one who killed the fierce beast, so he decides to lay low for a while and cultivate his skills to become stronger. Then he takes the bottle that contains the blood of the beast and drinks it, all of it, actually, regardless of the bad taste, saying he had to do it to protect his little sister. After taking it, he notices that the cultivation speed was 4 times faster than usual, which was a huge help in harnessing his talents, and decides to continue for the rest of the days left. 3 days later, while they were all coming forward to calculate their points, Lai Yongxing had 195 points, while Mo Sheob had 427 points but was accused of stealing other people's points, but it didn't matter. Mo Sheob announces that whoever is in first place is the one with 1,000 plus points, and if the person doesn't surface, he will be announced as the winner soon after someone approaches. It was Yi Tian, and everyone was surprised. As Yi Tian comes forward and puts his bag down for the announcer to calculate his points, she is surprised to see the eye of a monster and says he has 1163 points, which makes him the first in that practical exam for that year, and he is rewarded with 3 bottles of monster blood and 100k yuan in cash. Everyone was surprised and curious as to how he did it. Mo Sheob angrily asks his gang to run a background check on Yi Tian in secret. Zhang Bao proudly announces Yi Tian, but Al is the teacher, which is why he didn't seem happy about Yi Tian bringing glory to their academy. The teacher says he fears Yi Tian because he has angered a powerful family and will probably soon be dead. After the presentation of gifts, Mo Sheob confronts Yi Tian, saying he'd destroy him for stealing his points, but Yi Tian said he got those points with his own skills, so they're even, and if he still wants a duel, he has no problem with it, and soon they'll find out who's stronger amongst them. Yi Tian proceeds home to meet with his sister happily. They talk about the gifts he brought and the potion the monster was drinking, which, to their surprise, was a very powerful potion. He gave it to his sister to drink, saying it would help her become stronger. Yi Tian gives the potion to his sister to drink but thinks it won't work because she has awakened her talent, yet goes ahead to give her by force with the thought that she'd improve in any way. Still nothing changed to his surprise. Instead, she suddenly goes to sleep. 1 hour later, something strange happened. Some strange effects happened to Yi Tian's sister, Yu, whose rank increased from inferior to medium plus an additional freeze talent. Yi Tian was happy because it'd help us sisters become a top-notch martial artist. He gulps one of the monster's blood, saying he definitely won't lose to Mo Sheob, remaining 2 bottles left, but would that be enough for him to let him get to the martial artist stage? 10 days later, in the 5th school's forest, while trying to train, Zhang Bao ran along and came to tell Yi Tian that Mo Sheob was in the school, and was planning to isolate himself in his room in order to get to the martial artist stage and was planning something and coming back for his revenge. Yi Tian said he wasn't so scared since Mo Sheob was only isolating himself and wasn't ready to fight yet. But he was worried because Mo Sheob had resources to make him stronger, while he had monster's blood that wouldn't be sufficient to outdo Mo Sheob. A month later, Mo Sheob was congratulated for already being a martial artist and said he was glad he was going and would return safely. After being congratulated by his family, Mo Sheob asks his slave about the status of the background check he requested on Yi Tian. The slave stated that he is someone without parents, money, or a worthy background, and it would be pointless for Mo Sheob to kill him and taint the family's image, so he agreed to send a dark shadow assassin instead to kill Yi Tian so he wouldn't be investigated. While going home one evening, Yi Tian suddenly sensed a negative presence, only to be attacked from behind. Luckily for him, he swerved the attack and asked the attacker who sent him. Fighting against the Dark Shadow Assassin was a bit of a hassle for Yi Tian because the assassin was invincible, but he was soon able to bring him down and kill him after realizing he was sent by Mo Sheob, who then copied his shadow talents and walked away. Yi Tian returns home to freshen up and goes through the assassin's belongings, only to find some money and a swords book that he found useful as he was about to train. He was worried because if Mo Sheob could send someone to kill him, surely his sister wouldn't be an exception, so he goes out worriedly to find her, which he fortunately did. Mo Sheob finds out that Yi Tian is still alive and gets upset. Yi Tian decides to get his sister a snack and notices they're being followed by a black car but pretends he isn't aware. The black car followed them to their house and he knew they were after his sister and that she wasn't safe anymore, so he decided to stay in the shadows for a few days and watch his sister just in case Mo Sheob attacked. Mo Sheob slumps to the floor and dies. The bodyguards quickly look around for the killer, then Yi Tian comes out with an aura flowing around him. The bodyguard is astonished as to how Yi Tian already has dark shadow talent because, while investigating him, he was just a weak talent, so how is it possible that he killed Mo Sheob in one strike? An hour later, Mo, the father of Sheob, comes to his son's corpse and begins to demand answers about who killed his son, but no one seems to have an explanation as to what happened. When he saw the piece of paper, he assumed that a dark shadow assassin had been sent to kill him, and whoever did it was so when the Mo family's ancestor arrived. Moen began to tell him about how their family genius had recently died and he had recently made it as a martial artist, and how the great ancestor should help him exact revenge on his dead son because his dead son was supposed to be the family's last hope. Will Mo Sheob's death really be avenged? Will Yi Tian be exposed? Rumors of Mo Sheob's death were already flying around, and no one was suspecting Yi Tian in any way. He was able to create a diversion, but would it last long? Zhang Bao runs to Yi Tian to tell him how lucky he is that Mo Sheob died before he could even take his revenge as regards the Wild Zone exam he passed. The next morning, Yi Tian sets out to train in the wild area to cultivate his skills, saying he needed to become stronger and break through as a martial artist. Just as he was about to train, a violent beast appeared, and his strength seemed pretty strong. But he fought it and decided to take its talents. As Yi Tian fights the monster and tries to hit it at its weak point, he notices that the monster seems stronger and killing it won't be possible, but he'll fight it anyways because he has to copy the monster's defense talent. He sees a dark shadow talent, but still, nothing happens to the monster. Where exactly is the weak point of the monster? Tian then reasoned that the weak point was the cow's ass and proceeded to strike it. To Yi's surprise, it wasn't his sister, but a lady with genius talents, and her assistant began shouting at Yi for calling her boss little sister. She later apologized after being cautioned by her boss and decided to make amends by inviting Yi to their store to sell his junk for double the actual price. The slave then invited him to the second floor of the building and asked him to sit. The young lady started calling him a VIP. Yi Tian asked how a commoner like him was a VIP and needed clarification. She answered by saying it's actually because he's a commoner and has no connections with nobles that she's referring to him as a VIP. Yi Tian didn't like her countenance because she seemed pretty cold, unlike his sister, Yu, who is cute and lively. The lady then went ahead to clarify that the reason why she invited him to tea was that she wanted him to join their martial hall. It was a great opportunity for Yi Tian, but he hesitated because he felt once his talent was discovered he could be killed, and he didn't like the idea of that. The lady asked why he was hesitating on such a great opportunity, and he gave an excuse, saying he didn't want to turn out like the rest. The lady insisted that she was different and he didn't need to give a response yet, and he should just study her for the time being before making up his mind and taking off. He had already made up his mind that he needed to focus on being stronger to be able to stand in a powerful place, and he had already copied the talent of the young lady and gone into fuse mode. Yi Tian returns home and gets a warm welcome from his little sister. He tells her about the good news of him becoming a martial artist. She was excited and wanted to tell the ancestors about it, but Yi stopped her, saying once he found a treasure he'd help his sister get better and become a martial artist. Yu picked up a pair of scissors and decided to give Yi Tian a haircut, saying he looked like a beggar. While he was making the haircut, he was reminded of the time their parents died and Yu had always been the one making his haircut, and he suddenly remembered the name Turritopsis nutricula, a ferocious monster that has a recovery talent. He hurriedly ran to the treasure book he bought earlier on to find out if it was really true and not just a superstition. Lo and behold, it really did exist in the Deaf Sea area. Excitedly, he thought of copying that type of talent so his sister wouldn't be worried about him ever getting injured. Yu wanted to dissuade Yi Tian by saying those childhood stories were all fake, but Yi Tian said they weren't. He stopped cutting his hair to practice a skill and decided to go hunting for the sea monster in a few days, when he should be strong enough to face it. After 30 days, Etienne sets out and goes back to the martial pavilion. He meets the slave, saying he wasn't there to see the lady but instead wanted to buy something instead, a sea map. She goes ahead and sells it to him, saying it's a really dangerous place and no one that went there made it out alive, so he should be really careful. Etienne reaches the arena and sees it has a very creepy atmosphere, and that danger could come from anywhere, so he decides to use his dark shadow talent to stay low and observe. Just as he was doing that, he saw the lady from the martial pavilion fighting a top-tier ferocious beast without another warrior, and the other warrior was beckoning for the lady to go back so he could handle it on his own. As she turned around, another beast appeared from behind her, and knowing they were in trouble, she went ahead to assist them. The warrior shouts out to the lady to watch out that a monster is coming. She automatically unlocks a talent called Secret Art and strikes the beast, and was impressed, but it appears that they haven't noticed his presence yet, so he decides to withdraw, seeing as Yu Ling the lady appeared to be more powerful, and his skills wouldn't be able to compete. The warrior told Yu Ling to go back, saying her secret wouldn't last long and it was important the treasure they came to get was kept safe. Etienne wondered how impotent a weapon was since it had already killed so many people before she was struck by a beast and knocked unconscious. Etienne carried her and the treasure into a cave, saying it'd be safer that way and assuring her that he wouldn't snatch the treasure away. While in the cave, he notices Yulin's resemblance to his little sister, except she has a mole on her face. Yuling was still unconscious, which worried Etienne. After a while, she awoke and was surprised to see Etienne, who asked what he was doing there. He answered that it was only a coincidence and thanked him for his shirt and wondered what he could be doing there all alone, and admired his boldness, concluding that she must make him join her martial pavilion whatever it took. Etienne was curious about how she was able to carry so many treasures and wanted to learn how Yu Ling used the opportunity to bring up his joining the martial pavilion to learn more, but Etienne declined, saying he was tired, which upset her. When Etienne awoke the next morning, Yu Ling had already left, and there was a box nearby containing money and some monster's blood. He began to wonder if she had left it on purpose. Etienne sets out and found some graves. He begins to wonder if it was Yu Ling doing and said it was a caring gesture. As he proceeded further, he saw an umbrella and remembered it was the one Yu Ling used during the fight with the sea monster. He then takes it to keep it to himself. As he opened the umbrella, he discovered it was a waterproof item that can also allow him to go underwater without any harm. He then went underneath and unleashed his dark shadow talent so as to not be noticed easily by any monster, but that didn't keep him low for so long. He almost got noticed by a beast at first, so he dove deeper into the water to hide, only to be discovered again by another huge, ferocious beast. Only this time it wasn't just any beast. It was the beast with the recovery potion, so he hurriedly copied the talent and devised a plan to run into hiding before being noticed by the beast. The Lin Hai base was lacking lots of resources due to its size and wanted to expand to be able to trade with a medium-scale base, which would bring them lots of benefits and also help cultivate the talents of their artists. They wanted to become better, so they decided to create a loot operation that allows only the best warriors with a good rank to apply, and the rewards seemed really good. Also, whatever the contestants won belonged to them personally, which made it fair. Etienne wants to participate but at the same time doesn't want to draw attention, which might lead to trouble since he had already become an elite martial artist. And the Mo family was present too, so he went forward to the testing stone which tests one's combat ability, and was hoping it'd only appear as a martial artist medium rank. When Etienne and the others go out to fight some beasts, the leader requests that Etienne work as a team with them, and after they bring down the beast, everyone was impressed with how someone his age could do that, little knowing that he didn't want to show his true power. Just as they were about to celebrate their victory, they were surrounded again by another set of wolves. They began calling for help from the other teammates, saying Team C was in danger, and they needed backup. Unfortunately, Team B declined their help request, which left Team C disappointed. The leader asked the rest of the team to quickly run away while he took care of the beast, but they refused, saying since they all came together they'd have to leave together. The leader still insisted that they should go, especially Yi, who's the newest teammate. Then Etienne showed his true powers. The rest of them said it was impossible, that how could he have the aura of an elite martial artist. Etienne said they all needed each other now or the entire Gale Wolf team would be wiped out, leaving them behind, and continuing to hide his true power would be considered inhuman. Etienne thinks revealing his power to the Gale Wolf team shouldn't expose him to any danger or trouble. Etienne manages to bring the rest of the team to safety, and they thank him and decide to go back. But Etienne says he isn't going back yet because he still wants to dive deeper and test something. Everyone looked at him with worry due to what they had all encountered, but Etienne reassured them that he'd be fine. The others ask the captain if they should follow Yi, but he declines, saying they'd only be a burden, and since he has great combat abilities, that should be enough, before encountering more stronger families or complicated situations since his power would soon be out. Etienne wanted to test how strong his recovery talent was, so he decides to go into the nest of the monster and finally found the one he'd fight with. From afar, the other teammates saw the fight had started. Etienne thinks dangerously. He decides to play a game with the monster. The game was to get burned by the monster's fire to death. If he recovers, the monster gets killed. The fight lasted for about an hour and it seemed like Etienne won. A big mission was going down between the Mo family and the Lin family. Etienne goes ahead to peek from afar to see what's going on, but is caught by a smart old man, who immediately notices Yi is an elite martial artist and summons him forward to know why he was snooping. Yi claims he heard about the mission and wanted to help, but no one recognized him. They all claimed he was not from any of their family. Suddenly, a man says Yi is from their family, the Lin family. He did that to steal Yi because it was a great opportunity to have an elite martial artist on their team for free. Yu Ling and her assistant grumbled, claiming that Etienne was only the property of their martial pavilion, by his little sister Yi Yu, complaining of how all Etienne does is come home and sit at a spot. But he still doesn't answer her, so she angrily walks away to prepare a meal for Etienne and adds too much spice as a punishment. Just as the food was served and he was about to take a bite, a knock was heard at the door, so he dropped the food and ran along to the door, only to find Captain Galewolf. He ushered him in and asked the purpose of his visit. The captain said he was around to give Etienne his share of the profit from the last operation and gave him a bag full of goodies. Happily, he told the captain to have the meal that was served since he wasn't hungry anymore and went in to drop the bag. He then comes back outside to ask the captain about the current situation of the beast removal operation since he's been indoors for a while. The captain told Yi that, based on his findings, the Fang base and the Linhai had suffered a huge loss, ranging from elite martial warriors to great martial warriors, and became angry at the loss, so the gang base decided to send a grandmaster, who finally finished off the ants. Etienne began to wonder what the Iron Gang base was up to and if the huge loss they had suffered was worth it. As they were escorting the captain out and saying their goodbyes, someone approached them and asked for Etienne, saying he was the butler from the Mo's family and was there to invite Etienne, especially for a meal with the family, but Yi declined, saying he didn't feel like stepping out, and the butler became enraged and tried to attack Yi, but Yi quickly swerved and the butler was hit instead. The butler quickly goes to report the incident to the family's ancestor, which makes him angry and furious because once he's dead, there will be no one in the family to carry on the legacy, so he tells his son to capture Etienne and snatch him in any way before the Lin family does. His elder son didn't really like the idea, but there was nothing he could do. Whatever his ancestor said was final. Etienne isn't safe anymore. The Mo family sends a group of warriors to capture Etienne, but instead, dead bodies begin to fall one by one, leading them to believe he sent a dark-skinned assassin to kill them. But Etienne finally appears, and they are all surprised, but they still charge to capture him anyway because a job had to be done, which is to capture Etienne. Mo Sheob's father, Moen, was among the warriors. He begged Yi not to kill him, but Yi declined, then confessed to killing Mo Sheob. The father, terrified, said it was okay and Mo Sheob deserved to die because he provoked Yi and promised to give him everything he wanted as long as he let him live. Yi kills him, saying he likes to kill all his enemies to prevent unnecessary troubles. Etienne kills Mo Sheob's father with the warning that anyone who tries to harm his family members shall die. Meanwhile, the great ancestor of the Mo family was wondering why the 10 great elders he sent to capture Yi had yet to return with Etienne. Just as the old man was being reassured by his older son that they would be back, someone unexpectedly appeared in the room, and guess who it was? It was Etienne. They began to stammer, wondering how on earth he got into their house and what happened to the great 10 elders they sent. Angrily, Yi strikes the elder son, and he dies in an instant. The ancestor began to cry angrily and rose to fight Yi, saying he'd kill Yi for ending the life of his son, and began to hit Yi all over, saying he would crush him and that his hatred for him wouldn't ever disappear, even after Yi's death. But would that be the case? Will you really die just like that? Soon more of the warriors in the family started surrounding Yi. It seems like the news of the deaths of the members was already going around, and Yi seemed dissatisfied, saying the Mo family was trash. The ancestor then ordered the warriors to kill Yi with no hesitation. Immediately, Yi unleashed his dark shadow kill, which shocked the ancestor as he already had the ability of a great martial artist. But how long would the ancestor be able to hold out with just his secret art ability? And the fight continues. The fight continues, and from afar, it is being watched by two men. One of those watching asked if he could go check it out, but the young master declined, saying it was better to wait. The great ancestor seems to be having trouble killing Yi Tian so easily as he keeps dodging the attacks of the old man. The old man decides to seek help from the Lin family so he won't exhaust all his energy, but something strange and familiar happened. The old man suddenly went on his knees and started begging Yi to spare his life, saying he would give Yi all his family treasures. Yi then agreed and asked him to bring them all out. But it was only a trick of an old man. He suddenly attacked Yi with a poisonous item and immediately called Yi Tian dead meat. The foolish old man didn't know Yi Tian had recovery ability, which makes the poison useless. The ancestor was surprised, wondering how Yi had so many talents, but before he could finish wondering, Yi attacked him with full force, telling to go ask Hades in hell, and kills him. Kashin Galewolf thinks worriedly of Yi Tian and wonders why he hasn't returned. Feeling like he is babysitting Yi Yu, he immediately appeared and thanked the captain for watching his sister. The captain asked if he was able to succeed in killing them all, and Yi happily announced the Mo family would no longer exist in the Linhai base. Yi then asked if his little sister was okay and if the assassin hadn't touched her, so he went with the captain to see her, and as they were walking, the captain asked Yi about his next plans now that the Mo family was gone. Says he wants his sister to start cultivating her talents, but the talents say it isn't that easy except for Yi to spend money buying resources to make it happen quickly, because that's what most prominent people in the community do. Instead, he walks away to greet Yu. The rumors of the demise of the Mo family were already spreading fast, and people began to wonder who was strong enough to do it, but it seems like no one knows it was Yi Tian yet. The elders of the other family began to discuss the use of the Mo family's only treasure left, an iron pearl that could bring lethal disaster, and that the so-called contraction route that the Iron Fang base was only false and was actually an immigration route, because a large monster boss would soon evolve into a king in that vicinity, threatening the Iron Fang base's existence, so the elders of the Lin family planned to use it against. Back at Yi Tian's house, Yi showed the captain and his sister some valuable elixirs he got, and they all wondered what he planned to do with them. His little sister suggested he get a wife, but Yi disagrees and keeps talking about how real and expensive they are. Because of the sudden threat of the ferocious beast, Yi Tian is leaving again to go into Xiao Kaianyi Forest to get another ability. It's getting so bad that even two ancestor masters can't hang in such a fight for long. So Yi Tian plans to become stronger and pleads with the captain to take care of his sister in his absence, and promises he won't take long. Just as he was about to leave, a troop of riders from the Linhai base came through, led by a young genius from the Sun family. Yi noticed the young genius's talent and went to the forest, saying he had a bad feeling. Yi Tian's mission in the forest is to find a black panther wolf and copy its speed talent to upgrade his own and become better, but so far he has only seen the footprints of one and not the actual wolf. He suddenly noticed a strong energy wave which seemed like two ferocious beasts were fighting, and decides to go take a look, and he saw a rare gold silk dragon leopard which is stronger than a black wolf panther. He immediately agreed, naming the little beast Xiao Jin, his first pet beast, and patting its head to immediately copy its talents. Yi goes to attack, aiming for the enemy's weak point first to strike, which is the eyes. He strikes it immediately, and Xiao Jin's parents start roaring. Yi immediately tells Xiao to tell her parents that he means no harm and that he's on their side. He then gives the pregnant mother a recovery pill to take and protect the unborn child. She's reluctant at first, but later she takes it in. The ferocious beast begins to run away, but Yi decides to not let it go scotch. He teams up with Xiao and his parents to take down the beast. While battling it, he struggles to adapt to his new increased speed talent but is able to handle it. But the gorilla does not appear to die easily. Its body seems to be so strong. They continued in battle and they won. Yi never imagined himself fighting alongside a ferocious beast, but he was glad he did. Unfortunately, the female leopard was, and they needed to find a solution as soon as possible. Yi Tian takes Xiao and his parents and inquires about their home. As they were on their way there, they were confronted by some beasts again, but they trusted Yi, and he immediately destroyed them. When they arrived at their home, he laid the wounded leopard down. Xiao brought a gift to Yi, claiming it was from her mother. It was a spirit herb that would only bloom after 30 days. 30 days later, the herb had already bloomed, and Xiao beckoned on him to eat it quickly, which he does. And that's how the first part of this man wins. Well guys, if you like this video and you want a second part, comment below with the word talent. Also subscribe to the channel, hit the bell and like the video. But most important, leave a comment. Until the next video.